you ready to make technology work for you? Tune in to Act on Tech, the podcast where we break down the latest tech trends and show you how to boost your productivity at home and in your business. So, subscribe to Act on Tech today and visit alexcustomtech.com to see how we can take your business to the next level. That's Act on Tech, your guide to smarter tech for a smarter business. Alex Custom Tech, IT means integrity and trust.
Hello, hi, this is Alex of Alex Custom Tech, and welcome to Act on Tech. Today we're going to be talking about password management and two-step authentication or multi-step authentication. Let's start with the two-step or the 2FA, because we have all these acronyms and I want to make sure that I can go through. Sometimes I go through this, sometimes I just sit here in the studio when I shoot from the hip, and I kind of think I get the gist, the idea across, but sometimes I don't use the right terminology, so I'm going to use Google as my assistant today. Now, I call it two-step authentication. It's called 2FA, and there's other names for it. There's multi-authentication, and let me see if there's another one for it. Let me see. So, what it really is, and let me explain to you what it is by giving you something that you already do. So you have your bank account, and they give you a debit card. The debit card has a number on it, on the card, and you put it into the ATM. You put the card in the ATM, and you got to put a PIN in for you to get your money. That's two things you have to do. You have to have the card and then put the PIN in. That's what two-step authentication really is. It's two things that have to happen for you to gain access to something. And we talk about in IT, we talk about security. Because security is like this big deal right now and it's one of the hardest things to sell, because it's kind of like selling insurance. You're trying to tell clients that they need to do these things so they can be protected from a potential problem when they don't see the problem, right? But the problem, it's not about seeing the problem. Is that if the problem does happen or does come, it's so costly that you want to have a preventative stance than actually dealing with it after the fact. This is why you would see me as a person who is not really, the best salesman in the world or pushy at all. I'm not aggressive at all when it comes to trying to convince people of anything. I can't convince anybody of anything. When I was a kid, I never believed I could. I think people should make their own decision based off what they want for their own personal lives. But there is ignorance out there, and people do take some things lightly. And I think this is one of the things that I'm not going to really spend a lot of my time on this podcast worried about this stuff. But this is a topic that I'm going to have to talk about, because again, people in my family, in my life, that really is horrible at passwords. And to be fair, even myself, to some degree, I could be more secure than I am. So, two-step or two-factor or multi-factor or 2FA is a security method that requires two different forms of identification to access a system or account, enhancing security beyond just a password. Now, this is not a prediction, but the way things are going, I think we're going to go into a passwordless future. The reason why I say that is because people struggle with passwords. People struggle with it. And I tell you all the time, like, you can't have both. You can't have convenience and security, right? The more security you have, the less convenient you are. The more convenient you are, the less secure you are. These are the facts. So we have to they're trying to figure out a way where they can keep you secure and not have you lose any inconvenience. So two-step authentication is Not convenient. I'll be the first person to say that. And the passwords that we normally would have now, where we just use our daughter's name or our son's name or that kind of stuff, because I do that a lot, and it's not secure. Not secure. That's secure. I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. We're going to talk about password management and multi-step authentication. So 2FA is like I explained to you with the bank card. So what they also do with what you also have is you have sometimes people put a password in, and then you have to put your you get something text to your phone that's like what that one is called a SMS. You get a text message, and then you get a PIN number and you put it in. That's one way. And then another 2FA is you have like an app, and then like Google, like app-based authority, like Google authentication is one of these, where the app on your phone, and then you get a number from the app, and then you can use that. And then there's like a key hardware thing that you can plug into the computer. Once that's plugged into the computer, combined with the password, then you have access to the data. So those are the three things. Now, the least secure is the SMS, because somebody could copy your SIM card, and then whatever message you get, they get it too. And so that's not the best thing, but it's still better than nothing, as people would say. All right. And the thing, what's also inconvenient about the other thing is that, yes, if you have it on your phone, that's wonderful. But if you lose your phone, it's a pain in the butt to transfer it over to another phone. You won't be able to get access to anything until you get a new phone. So that's another thing. So again, like I said, the more convenient you are, the less secure you are. The more secure you are, the less convenient you are. Remember that. That's like the rule of thumb, right? So that's one aspect. Now, password management is something that I've been playing around with for a little bit. So like I said, I have Aurora, and Aurora is what I use as a password manager. I still type my password, and the passwords are in there are kind of weak because you can guess them. I mean, computers can guess them, but I'm in the process of updating them now. But I like it because it's seamless, and I do like when things are convenient. But I think it's a reliable company, and I use them a lot. But they're not the only ones that do it. But let's talk about what password managers are. So a password manager is a software, application, or service that helps you secure, store, manage, and retrieve your password and other credentials, often with the ability to generate stronger ones, that's true, and unique password for each online account. So we are living our lives online now, and we have Google and Facebook and Twitter and X, and I used to do X and the same thing with the same company, and Pinterest and all these other things that we have to type in username and password into, right? And so we tend to just have like one password for everything because it's convenient for us to do that. But if the person asks one thing, they can get access to everything. We don't want that. So with a password manager, it's like putting all your passwords for each and every site into a box, and then lock that box up, and with one password. So you don't have to remember, you don't have to really know what the password is to each site. You just have to know one password for the box. And that's kind of how that is. And it's really good. And there's a couple of companies that do it. Like I said, Aurora is one that I use for mine. But there's, I think it's number OnePass or OnePass. All right, let me see if I can see. There's a bunch of them out there. I think Norton does one too. Let me take this out here so I can tell you. Just give you a rundown of. Okay, so Google, and there's built-in ones on your Google. All browsers have a built-in one, and you can see that when you're typing your password, it'll ask if you want to save it. That's kind of what that is. And the thing about these also, they're encrypted. Now, another part about this also that people kind of get nervous about this also is that it's stored in the cloud, right? But it's not stored in the cloud as your password, right? And I think it's called zero trust or zero knowledge. I think that's what it is. Let me see if I can type it in. Zero knowledge. So what zero knowledge is, if you look for a password manager that actually offers this, what zero knowledge is that what gets uploaded to the cloud, that's what makes it convenient for you to use it on all different machines. it doesn't really have the password. It have a hash, not a password. And that's how it's able to retrieve, because your password is really stored on the machine, and what on the machine you use locally, and then that password is not only stored on it, it's encrypted, so you really can't see it. So there's no way for anybody to see what your password really is, right? Not even the cloud. They don't know what it is. They don't keep it. They don't have the data. So that's what actually is a good thing. And then some of these companies, not all, but some of them get audited by third parties. So if there's any breaches, you'll know about them too. Again, I'm kind of going into the weeds. I kind of want to keep on topic. The thing is, password managers, you should use them for your personal and for your business. And also, you should start to get comfortable with some kind of 2FA authentication. They're good also because you don't, if somebody does hack you, somebody does get your password, right? They still have to have the other aspect, the other part of the password, the other part of the mechanism to have access to your content, to your access to your stuff. So that helps you and keeps you safe. These stuffs are very inconvenient. I know they are, but how much is it going to cost you? One of my problems in life is that I'm always worried about the cost of the return, right? So whenever I do anything, which I expend any energy, I want to make sure that what I'm doing is going to give me a return on equal to the effort I put into something or more. That's why sometimes I struggle with people, because they'll say, Alex, why you don't want to do this? Why I don't want, because it's too much energy and I'm wasting my time. So for me, that's very important. So when I say that, I'm pushing this security thing, because if you get hacked or you lose something or something happens, the cost is way more than the effort it would take to set up one of these password managers or do a two-step authentication. It's way more costly for you if you got hacked than if you just do this. It's a little bit inconvenient, yes. It's a little bit of energy, maybe some learning curve, but again, you can bring in someone like myself or another IT company to walk you through this process. And there's a bunch of people out there that's very reliable, and there's a bunch of videos on YouTube you can watch, right? Instead of just watching cats play the piano, maybe take a couple minutes and watch one of these how-to videos on how to set one of these things up and secure yourself and your family. These things are really, really good to have. Like I said, I have one that I paid for, Aurora, but like I said, it's all in one kind of thing. But like I said, like I said, there's a couple other companies. Like I said, Google have one built-in password manager. Google Password Manager is called. But there's also NordPass. There's LastPass. Although LastPass has some problems in the past with people hacking them. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna get anything from them, but they were hacked a couple of times. And Bitward, which is an open source one, that's one that I've played around with a little bit. So there's a whole bunch of them out there that is helpful. And like I said, it's better to have one than not to have one. And I know a lot of people are on technology and from different generation. Look at some baby boomers, okay, that's on computers now, and they are not comfortable with none of this stuff, right? So I understand that it's a little bit difficult, but if you have a business, you can get one of these password managers and you can get it for yourself. You can have it for your whole organization. You can pay for the subscription for it, and everybody has it, and you can secure your whole team and give them a little training. Again, get an IT guy like myself or someone else in there to give you training about security and how important it is and what you need to do to secure yourself. Now, I'm not going to go into the weeds with this too much. I might revisit this topic again, but it's just like, again, when I'm researching about podcasts, when I'm going to do podcasts on, this one was one of the one that was recommended to him. Like, yeah, I should really dive into password management and two-step authentication. So like, again, with two-step authentication, we just talked about how you get the other part of it, and the SMS and the password authorization thing, like and the key pass, which is the hardware. You plug in like a USB, you plug in there, and or some kind of biometric thing. All these things are good things to have. So now, how does that help your business? Well, again, like I said, you have files, you have things that only certain people have access to. If God forbid, if you're like a doctor or accountant or anything that to do with sensitive information, you kind of want to keep that stuff secure. Like this stuff you have to invest in regardless. If I was doing any work for any medical office or any accountant or lawyer, I would be hammering this home. This is not even up for debate, because again, you get a breach, you might go out of business. Okay, so again, these things are important. So yes, it's gonna be a short one tonight, definitely. But so let's do this. So back to password manager. All right. Like I said, I use Aurora, but let's look at Norton Pass. Now, Norton Pass has business and personal, and let's look at the pricing. Let's give an example. So they have a plan that's personal plan. I think is free, right? And it's auto save and auto full. I mean, like this, right? It puts your password into the thing by itself, and then secure storage, right? Access to multiple devices. Doesn't have access to multiple devices. Password health or data breach scanner doesn't have that stuff for the free tier, but the premium tier offers auto save and auto fulfill. Auto fill, which means that it puts the information into the slot, the username and password. It puts it in itself. You don't even know what it is. Right? It's secure storage. I mean that whatever his password is saved is encrypted, so nobody can see it. Nobody can see it. Access to multiple device. Multiple device mean that you can set it up and it can work in your laptop, your phone, and any other device that you have. Password health. That means it's a combination of capital letters, lowercase letters, and symbols. The more characters in the password, it's harder for a computer to crack it, right? Data breach scan. We talked about deep web and dark web, last podcast. This stuff, when they do get a hold of your stuff, right? So they crack the deep web, they get a load of your stuff, they sell it on the dark web. This scans the dark web if there was any breach, and it alerts you. Kind of talked about that last time. You want to get an alert if there is anything that happens. All right. File attachment. Now, the file attachment stuff in the past, when I'm talking about this past NordPass, is that you probably can encrypt things you send to people, or you probably can give them access to certain things that you are, like you can share your password with them, and then later on stop sharing it with them, right? And email masking, that's also another form of encryption. You can encrypt your email, which is pretty cool. I never really messed with that too much before, but that's actually pretty clever. Okay, so let's see what else. This is NordPass. Let's see what else. Which other services out there? Which other ones? And what they offer. Let's look at LastPass. I'm not gonna make a LastPass because they got in trouble. So let me see who else we have. I want to go sleep. Honestly. Yeah, definitely NordPass. I said that. And let's see what else we have. NordPass, Dashlane. Let's see what they have. We're gonna go to their website. Visit. Okay. Now they got a premium plan and a friends and family plan. It's expensive though. It's expensive by 15. Oh, for the year though. So your email, your payment detail. I don't see what they offer. It's not a very good website, buddy. It's not a very good website. Okay, so let's see the products. Personal, individual, and family. For admin tools, build a custom security dashboard with, okay, that's interesting. So let's see what they offer. Logins, so they do the same auto fill, right? Key pass. Yeah, I don't know how to explain that to you guys. Secure notes, right? That's worth with Airbnb, so they have, so you can, okay, that's pretty interesting. Y dash featured dash safe and credential security report. It gives you a scan. Here we go. It scans here. It scans the dark web for you, right? Now the pricing on this I don't like. Take that back. Standard pricing is $20 per month, up to 10 users. Secure up to 10 user, unlimited password and key pass. Basic monitoring and logs. Again, here's that scan for the dark web. Intuitive admin console. So it gives you a nice little dashboard for you to manage things and set things up, and then it actually generates passwords for you. And like with this one, which is Dashlane, it has the standard one for you, right? And then you have business, so you can get stuff for you and your employees to secure them. And this is kind of why I'm pushing this, because security is not just for you. You could be as secure as you want to be, but if you have one person in your organization that's not taking it seriously, that's all it takes. So it's good to have these things set up and use them and utilize them the best way you can. Like I said, LastPass is one, but they didn't do too well the last couple of years. They got hacked a couple of times. Again, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean they got hacked. I mean that the password were let go. More likely than not, but they were still hacked. They're still vulnerable, right? RoboForm is, I think, is one that runs on a computer natively. Let's see what else we got. OnePass. That's a very popular one. People love OnePass. So let's see what OnePass offers. Okay. So go to pricing. Go to all plans. So OnePass, $19. Oh, $7. Let me see. Let's go to all personal plan. Let's go to personal plan. Individual is $2.99. Right? Password generator. That's pretty cool, because not only does it store the password in kind of a vault. I remember that box I talked about earlier. We put all the passwords into when you lock the box up. It's a vault. Think of it like a vault, and then all the passwords are in there. You don't have to remember one password to get into the vault. Password generator. So all those websites you go to, you can have this make the password for you. Remember, we're talking about the passwords. The more characters you have, the harder for it to be guessed or hacked. And so that's a feature. It has a password generator built into OnePass and login, autofill, and sharing. So that's what I talked about. And you got to ever type a password in ever again. You go to the website, it recognizes website, and it just goes in there. And I want to talk about something real quick. Hackers, one of the things that they do sometimes is called a phishing attack. They gather information. Sometimes they send you emails, hope that you respond to the email and give them information. And sometimes they'll make a copy of a site. So I'll make like a Google site, a Google Gmail site, but it looks exactly like Google or whatever. Facebook, sometimes they'll do a Facebook site, or something, they'll do a PayPal site, and you logging into it thinking that it's actually PayPal, but it's not. This could prevent that from happening, because when you have autofill, it will only generate the username and password for the actual site. Because sometimes we're doing things in passing and we don't know what we're typing things into. So that's why this is very helpful. Right? And this is to have a family account. You have an individual account for $2.99, and you have a family account which is $4.99. Right? And let me see what they offer down in the family account. Up to 5 family members, so 6 of y'all. Right? And you have this simple admin control. You can control each family member and what they have, like for your kids. That's pretty cool. And let's look at the business plans. Team starter pack, $19. Right? Again, simple secure sharing. One password developer, so one person manages it. It's pretty cool. And then if you have $7.99 per month talk to sales. I get to talk to the salesperson. That's not right. But it encrypt everything. That's pretty good. And it encrypt your messages and your emails. That's pretty impressive. So that's pretty good. Because again, you want to have able secure email back and forth with other people, and you can actually grant people access to things and then take it away from them. So those are pretty good. So again, like I said, it's something to think about. It's very, very good to think about it. Just think about getting a password manager to manage all your passwords. Stop trying to remember them. Stop using the same password all the time. Stop using your kid's name or whatever anybody can guess. Have these password generator generate the passwords for you. Get a password manager, set it up, or get somebody to help you set it up, and then you use it for yourself and for your business. And also, in a combination with the password manager, get some kind of a two-step authentication, 2FA authentication process to it. So you have your phone, or you have something on your phone, you get a message on your phone, or you can get one of those hardware that you put in the computer so that you can log in. But have it be 2 steps, not just 1 step. Not just using the password. Have it be using the password and a code that you get, right? But again, if you have no other option, you can use SMS. But I would rather you get something else a little bit more secure for yourself, because people can copy your SIM and have your SIM also. So this is, just like I said, it's like I always say, this is kind of a no-brainer kind of podcast. But like I always say, stay productive.